All
right.
Cool.
Have we got any preamble recorded yet? Or I don't know.
Yeah, there was that shit about me saying something about Swipe of the Fox, isn't it? Or this could be the
preamble.
Hello and welcome to the SlapDuck podcast. My name is Lucas Shin. With me, as always, on my left-hand side,
Sully Iqbal, aka Mr. Yankee No Brim.
Whoa, no Yankee. I love that so much.
And on my right-hand side
is George Gessie, aka, by the way, guys, I can hear now. That's the whole title. That's the title.
Akira.
George,
no brim.
You can find us anywhere good podcasts are, and Radio Haver every week on a Tuesday, 6 p.m. England time.
GMT, mate.
Or BST, whatever they're feeling like that week, really. George, ear update. How is it?
Okay, so I'll keep this brief because we've got a big thing coming up. I'll give you the lowdown. So last time we spoke, I could only hear out of my left ear. By the end of the weekend, I couldn't hear out of any ear.
Oh,
so they were both blocked. So
that's
like,
less than one ear.
This is bullshit. So what happened was, I was like, okay, I'm going to ring 111 just to see what's going to happen. Like, they might just advise me to stay, stay at home, stay like using like ear stuff, like oil and that. But I called them and gave them the lowdown. And the guy was like, okay, I'm going to advise you to go to urgent care. So you're going to have to see somebody within 24 hours. And I was like, oh my God, what? So I went to the hospital. This sounds so dumb because it's just for ears, because all the GPs are shut, right? Because coronavirus. So went to the doctor. The doctor looked in my ears, was like, yep, can't see your eardrum. That's fucked up, boy. And I was like, damn, where's my eardrum gone? This is shit. He said because we could offer syringing, but because it's deemed a non-essential service, we can't offer that to you now because they're only doing essential services because of the coronavirus.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, whatever. Went home, started putting more things in my ears, like drops and stuff.
Fish.
And I was like, this is the worst thing ever. But long story short, again, I ended up calling this woman, and she came to my house, and she sucked the wax out of my ears.
Wait, she used a machine, correct?
No, just a straw.
No, she put her whole mouth on my ear. No, I'm joking, obviously. It was gross. No, she had like a tiny little Henry Hoover vacuum. Put it in my ear. I used that joke last week as well, and it made me laugh. Put it in my ear and sucked everything out. And I'll tell you what, guys, it felt like Velcro on my eardrums. It felt like she was pulling the wax off. And I was like, oh my God, this is so... Like, it didn't hurt or anything. It was just a bit uncomfortable, I guess, because it's never happened before. And yeah, so now I can hear in both ears.
Yeah.
Woo! And I feel good about it. I feel really
You're less like Beethoven now.
Yeah, you're a happy boy this week.
No longer Vincent van Gogh. I'm more like Vincent van No.
Oh shit.
Let's Vincent van Gogh. Get it? Let's yeah.
Okay.
Is that
moving on?
Thank you.
I'm going to pass you over to Sully because Sully's got a special announcement.
Okay. So, this week we're kicking off the inaugural and probably the only, because it's to determine the best movie ever, the SlapDuck Best Movie Award, the winner of which I will send a nice email to someone to see if we can send them an award.
We'll send them a sticker pack or something.
So essentially, our criteria was very simple. What is the best movie ever made?
Easy. That's like a simple discussion, right?
We each came to the plate with 4 films. It's going to be a single elimination tournament So the movies have been randomly paired off together, and they'll be duking it out to see who's the best. Interesting note, we all decided to have one foreign film in our
did we?
pick, and we limited it to just one.
Wow.
Did
yeah.
we?
I mean,
without deciding.
Without deciding, we did. I mean, personally, I did because I was going to put like 3 foreign films, but I'm like, okay, 2 of these are from like the 40s, so I'm going to stick to the one I brought forward. So let's quickly run through the 4 we each brought to the table.
Okay. You want to start?
So I brought The Godfather, Part 1, The Terminator, 1, Psycho, the Alfred Hitchcock version, not the shitty shot-for-shot remake, and Akira. So that was my selection. George, what were the 4 films you brought to the table?
My 4 films were Porco Rosso, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, Speed, and The Matrix. Oh yeah, bit of Keanu.
Okay.
You double Keanu there.
You double Keanu that.
Double Keanu.
And Luca?
I brought to the table Memento, The Thing, John Carpenter's version, because it is fucking banging.
Fucking good.
Pan's Labyrinth,
Great film,
masterpiece,
actually.
and 7.
7. And interesting note on 7 and Speed. The bus driver in Speed appears in 7 as a library security guard, which is something I noticed whilst watching this film yesterday.
That is a link I don't think anyone's ever made before.
Nice.
IMDb trivia right here.
No, we got to add that to IMDb.
Yeah, 2 spoken roles.
Wow.
All right.
Okay.
So Sully, you're gonna kick this off. What are the first 2 that we have to debate?
So I've randomly put together the bracketing for this. The first 2 movies facing off with one another are going to be Porco Rosso and The Godfather.
Yeah.
Which I think is fucking unfair, right?
These are all completely randomized.
Okay.
And I know, and I did make this bracket like 3 times, and every time was a different result. And obviously the one I did was literally as we started recording the podcast.
Yeah, so it's nice and fresh.
So this is fresh.
All
right. I guess I got to throw this out there. I literally watched Porco Rosso last night. It was the only film on this that I had to watch for this, and I kind of left it to the last minute, but
I had to watch 6.
Sorry about that, Sally.
I'm not gonna lie, guys. I haven't watched Memento or The Godfather, and I know the whole audience is gonna be like, what? You ain't seen The Godfather?" And I'm like, "No, I haven't." So.
I think I'm more angry that you didn't watch Memento, to be honest.
Yeah, I know of Memento, though. I kind of know the gist of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I know the gist of The Godfather as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's long.
Godfather's a 3-hour movie.
Yeah. Okay, let's start with Porco Rosso then. And
yes.
What are the goods and what are the bads of Porco Rosso?
George, as you put it forward, I'll let you take the stage at first.
Because I have some things to say against it after watching it last night.
Shit.
So I want to hear I want to hear why it's good. That's all I'm saying.
Maybe Luca's
what do you mean?
You'll see, buddy.
Wait, actually, Luca, this is gonna be interesting because you're kind of Italian, and these are both semi-Italian. Well, one of them's Italian. One of them's
Italian, and one of them has a bunch of Italian shit in it. Yeah. So very nicely animated spaghetti.
Right. What are the good parts of Porco Rosso? It's very easy to watch. It's a very easy watching film.
Yeah, it is.
It's beautiful. It looks amazing. It's animated incredibly well. What else? Music. The music is fantastic in that film. I'm a massive fan of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
What else is good? This feels strange. Like,
yeah, this is your film. I thought you'd have something for it.
I mean, it's I definitely back up that fact that it's a very easy watch. Like,
yeah,
I put it on one night and I was just like, yeah, I'm just gonna sit and watch Porco Rosso, and time flew.
Yeah, it's the sort of movie that just it does smoothly go by. There's never anything. there's never anything for me that like hits dramatically. It's a very easy flowing film.
Yes.
And for me, that's both a good and a bad, personally.
I can see that.
It's the sort of movie that I was watching it and I never kind of felt that any character was ever in danger. Even when they were saying like to Poco, oh, here's the secret Italian police and they're right behind you. And I was kind of like, I'm really not worried about this because he's not worried about it. Like the character himself is just kind of sauntering through life with not really a care in the world.
Yeah.
And it kind of made me care a little less about anything in the world. Like I really like the characters and I think, yeah, it is beautifully animated. There were some moments in it that I was actually like, fuck, that whole like, there's a section where they're revving up the engine of the new plane in the shed and the shed starts collapsing and it's absolutely stunning. Or when his first plane kind of gets shot down by the American, where that engine like gets torn apart. And it's like the animation in this is just top notch. You cannot falter it there. Where it can falter is kind of how it hasn't aged the best when it comes to its representation of women.
I mean, and
this was like, when was Barbarossa done? In the 90s, maybe?
I mean, Godfather's representation of women is also
right. Hang on,
shitty, but that is historically accurate.
Yeah, and I guess Barbarossa was kind of historically accurate as well. But like, there's a whole section, and it's not like it tries to shy away from it. It's kind of like, oh, you're going to get a woman to build my ship. Oh, you're going to get a woman to design my ship. You can't 92. Do this. You're a woman. 92. Okay.
Yeah.
But I think that's also that film does something about empowering women as well, because Porco as a character is like, I don't want a woman building my plane, and then woman builds some sick plane.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and like all the people who help build the plane too are
women.
All like the townsfolk women, which is I thought it was my favorite part of the film.
Yeah,
like,
same.
This is so sick, man.
But there's one thing that I really did like, and it's kind of so you have the woman that runs the bar that's like in love with Porco.
Yeah.
When the American kind of proposes to her, and she's kind of like, us over here, we have a very different view on love than you Americans. You Americans fall in love way too quickly, where for us it's more than just a switch. And it's kind of like, that was a really interesting thing, because like you see this American falling in love with any woman he sees. Like the moment he sees the girl that like, does the plane, she's kind of like, will you marry me? And she's kind of like, the fuck is wrong with you?
I am 17.
I really like that.
So
yeah, right? She's 17. Jesus Christ.
But again, culturally in Japan, that's like, she's grown up.
Yeah, which is fucked up.
That does feel a bit gross. And also like when he's there getting his plane built, he does mention that like he's a womanizer, and they mention it a few times before that Porco is kind of like that. But the old man is constantly going like, that's my niece, don't hook up with her. And he's kind of like, Jesus Christ, old man. And the old man just doesn't let up. Every time she walks by and like smiles, he's like, don't fuck my niece, basically. You're like, come on, man.
Porco's like, I just want my plane.
Yeah. He's like, I'm a pig, but I'm not that much of a pig.
Yeah. Although potentially he gets de-pigged at the end. I like that. That's something I liked. There's that little hint of mystery. It's like, oh, is he a pig? Is he not a pig?
Yeah, I like that ambiguity at the end where it's kind of like, I want to see your face, but you never actually see it. Even when like after the credits, you have the plane fly by, it never shows Porco. Like, I guess I'm assuming that he's still the same and maybe he's kind of like welling up or something, because they make that point of where she goes, oh, if I kiss you, maybe that'll work. And he's kind of like, this isn't that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So personally, I hope he's still a pig, but I guess that's just up to however you feel about the movie, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, in contrast, The Godfather, also a very Italian film.
Very Italian.
Yeah.
I think, these are the two most Italian films on here. So
I'll be honest, it was a toss-up between this and another Coppola film. I was thinking of putting what's the Paradise? No,
Paradise Lost.
Yeah, Paradise Lost.
Sure.
The one that's based off Heart of Darkness. I'm pretty sure it's Paradise Lost.
Look, I want to double check that one because I think it might be something else. But I continue. Go for it.
Legit, like just no idea what you guys are talking about.
I think
but anyway, we went with The Godfather.
Apocalypse Now.
Apocalypse Now. That's it. Sorry. That The Godfather is obviously I've not seen Godfather Part 2, which everyone says is a better film.
Sort of. Like, for me, it's a very different film. It's like a backstory and a sequel at the same time.
Yeah, and I feel like you might need Godfather 1 to appreciate Godfather 2.
Oh, fully, yeah. I think if you just jump into
Godfather 1 is on my list.
Yeah, I think if you just jump into 2, you'll be kind of lost. You need Godfather 1. It is like a follow-on to it.
Yeah. So, 100%. I mean, it's definitely not an easy watch like Porco Rosso is, which is, again, a good thing and a bad thing. The bad thing is Porco Rosso, like, I can put that on whenever I want to, whereas Godfather is the kind of film where I have to be in the mood to watch The Godfather, or it's like I can't get through a 3-hour movie about mafiosos.
I fully agree with that. Yeah.
So that's one thing about The Godfather. I mean, it is fantastically acted. Even Marlon Brando was good in that film, and I am not a Marlon Brando fan.
Fair. No, I feel like with that movie, everyone's fantastic acting wise. I think it's really well directed. It does some interesting things from a sound design and audio perspective, especially I think the scene that always like stands out to a lot of people is the one in the restaurant where he goes into the back to get the gun, and you hear like the trains going by, and as the tension and his kind of anxiety rises, the trains, the train track sounds of like that squealing gets louder and louder and louder until he just fires the gun, and then it kind of like quells down because the anxiety's kind of reached a boiling point. It's a really nice way of kind of portraying that without kind of doing anything crazy.
And I think, okay, I don't want to get straight to voting yet, but for me personally, the thing that kind of sets it above Porco Rosso.
This is fucking bullshit.
In my,
I'm gonna dip. I think.
For me, is the story of the main character. Porco changes. He becomes sort of less reclusive and still kind of warm-hearted, but with The Godfather, in the span of 3 hours, and not giving the character the full screen time. Michael's character has a full 180.
Yeah.
And it's believable.
Yeah, his journey in this movie is fantastic.
Kind of the thing where I'm like, everyone thinks The Godfather is a movie about Marlon Brando's character. Marlon Brando's character is like a side piece, as he should have been in every movie.
Whoa. These are some fighting words.
He's fine. He can't fight me.
Fair enough.
Wow, I'm very confused.
But yeah, the Michael's character is just he just changes completely. But also the scene where he essentially does Order 66 of all the other mafiosi dons, even. It's like, okay, that's what set this film as like a masterpiece to me.
Fair.
Wow.
So
I feel like there is one point I want to make, and it feels like we're shitting on Porco Rosso, and we're really not, because I think it is a really, really good film.
Bullshit.
But and George is going to get annoyed with this because we've discussed this way before. So I watched it as the English dub.
Oh, why are you watching the English?
What are you doing?
Listen, I watched it in Japanese.
Okay.
So like I also think my point stand.
Cool. So all I'm saying is, from the English dub perspective, they got a very good cast. It was badly directed when it came to the English voice, and most of them were fine. But who was it? All right, Batman. What's his name? Old school Batman, Birdman. Oh,
Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton was Porco in the English
Really?
dub. Yes.
Really?
And that man had less emotion in his voice than when Kiefer Sutherland took over as Solid Snake in Metal Gear Solid 5. That's how dull he sounded. Everyone else sounded really good, but Michael Keaton sounded like he was still half asleep when he was doing it, which for me kind of let it down.
He probably was.
Yeah. And I know I was watching the English dub, so really and truly that shouldn't factor into it, but I just feel like that needed to be said. Because I've watched some other Ghibli films, and I watched the English dubs, and they've been fantastic. So just on this one, it did let it down, in my opinion, a
I
little.
don't know about how much weight your vote carries in this one. But I mean,
I feel like if
again,
George was here, he would slap me right now.
I did like. Listen, I like Porco Rosso. It's definitely up there with one of my favorite Ghibli films.
Yeah.
So I'm not coming into this saying, because obviously Godfather was my pick, but I mean, Porco Rosso.
I think I'm a victim, right? I'm a victim of the randomizer here.
Yeah,
because if it was against any of the other films, I think it would probably had a bit of a fighting chance.
Bit of a fighting chance,
because it's against literally one of the best films ever made.
Yeah, like
in
honestly,
history.
if this was like Porco Rosso,
like
if this was Porco Rosso against Akira, this would be a big debate.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe not even then.
Maybe not even then, actually. If
it was Porco Rosso against like The Thing, it would be closer, or even Psycho. This would be even closer.
Right.
Yeah. So I feel like
I think it got Godfather.
It got Godfather, which is a rough pull on the best of days.
So
okay, so
sorry,
I think
George.
I think we're going Godfather. I think it's time for us to vote.
Godfather.
That's my vote. I was going to say hands up, but okay.
Well, no one can see the hands up, so we got to say our votes.
No, but we can see it, can't we?
Just say it.
But okay.
I'm going for the Godfather. Sully, yours is?
Mine's Godfather as well.
George, yours is?
George?
I'm out of the race.
You voted Porco Rosso, yeah?
Yeah.
I mean, the votes.
I haven't seen Godfather. That's a big thing too. Yeah. So for my limited knowledge, it's Porco Rosso because it's close and dear to my heart, and I like it a lot. It's my comfort film.
Fair enough.
So fuck you guys.
I will put it out there. Every single film on this list are amazing films and are definitely worth the watch. So if you're listening to this thinking after this, should I bother with Porco Rosso? Fuck yeah, you should. It's a really good film.
Yeah, I mean,
watch the Japanese one because Michael Keaton.
Join us this time next year for the second year. Oh, best film ever.
See if Porco Rosso wins that
one. We have to make a rule to see if these movies can be in that.
Maybe we'll just do an animated movie award and it will get further.
That I'm happy with. I'm happy with that.
So the next round might this is going to be a difficult one.
Yeah, because George should have watched Memento.
Yes, and I might be a tiebreaker here.
Yeah.
So it's going to be Into the Spider-Verse, the Spider-Man animated film against Academy Award-winning Spider-Man animated film.
Fantastic film.
Against Memento, which I assume won awards.
I don't know if it won awards or not.
I don't know, man.
But it feels like it should have.
Christopher Nolan movie based on a short film, a short story by his brother.
It's good, man. It's
I think his brother, Jonathan Nolan. I assume is his brother.
Jonathan Nolan is his brother. Yeah, Jonathan Nolan. Just put that there. He's currently the showrunner on Westworld.
Oh damn.
Oh well, I haven't watched that. Memento.
I'm
doing really well, guys. I'm doing so.
I know, Georgie.
It's sad that the first two ones are the two films you haven't seen.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, all right.
But you've seen all the rest. So.
Okay. Yeah. I think, George, do you want to start with saying why Into the Spider-Verse is as good as it bloody is? Because it's bloody good.
Oh, fucking hell. There is so much about this film which makes it amazing. Down from storyline, characters, even the engineering behind how it was made.
Yeah, the engineering is a massive part of this for me.
Sound design, for one, Luca, I think you can really appreciate the sound in this.
Sound design is good. I think it didn't stand out, but it is very good.
But I mean how it's layered, with people's themes and all this, these things. The main thing that jumped out to me as just showing the detail and care in the film is the fact that throughout the film, Miles Morales is animated on twos, and Peter B. Parker is animated on ones. So his movement is very smooth and perfect, and how Spider-Man should look. And because Miles Morales is just learning how to become this new person, he starts off slow and difficult. So they animated him differently.
Yeah, which is incredible. It's such a really lovely bit of
attention to detail is madness.
Yeah,
that and the relationship Miles has with his father after the whole Uncle Aaron thing. I'm trying not to spoil stuff, but
just a spoil away.
Yeah, I think if you're listening to this and the movie comes up, we are going to spoil it.
2 years old.
all right. When Uncle Aaron is revealed to be the Prowler, which is like the person that Miles looks up to, and he's like, "Oh my fucking god, what? Now I have to." Who have I been looking up to? Like all this sort of stuff, and then only for him to die, and then like what the? And then he realizes that his father is just as important, and now his father probably hates him because he thought he may have. Mate, it's just layered to shit. It's so good. It's
there is a hell of a lot of emotion in that film, and
comedy is amazing in that film. The action is insane. The animation is perfect. The detail behind how it was made. Oh, mate. Shits on Memento. Fuck Memento.
Well, I haven't even started on Memento yet, mate. So this is gonna be a rough one. No,
sorry,
a few things that I do want to say for Into the Spider-Verse, and I know this is George's pick. It's going against my pick, but it is a fantastic film. There's so what I did with the orchestration of this, just to like make it really tied in. So the composer, and I cannot remember his name. I'm really sorry. Orchestrated the whole film. Then they hand it to a DJ. And they ran it through mixing desks. And as he watched the movie, he live mixed it. So the whole movie is live mixed and scratched together. So you get this really kind of, or you have this mixture of like urban and orchestral, and they mash together, which works so well for a Spider-Man movie about Miles Morales. You have this cinematic score with this hip hop kind of movement through it. It's really, really well done.
Shit, I want to watch it again now.
Oh, mate, it's like if I put it out there, I have this movie on like 4K UHD Blu-ray. I love it so much. It's a fantastic fucking film.
Nerd.
Awesome.
But it is going against Memento, which is one of my favorite fucking films of all time.
Just so I've got this right, is Memento the film that's backwards, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I would try not to spoil Memento for too many people, partly because George hasn't seen Memento. And I want him to watch it with as clear a vision as possible. But
we spoiled Godfather, so
I feel like I've really ruined this tournament so far by not watching these films.
It's fine, George. It's fine.
It's
only two movies.
All right. Okay.
If you were in my situation where you hadn't watched half, then
okay.
You had to watch like almost all of my movies that I
had to watch all of your movies.
So sorry. Well, no, actually, you're fucking welcome. That was a great week.
Yeah.
All right. So Memento is a movie told in reverse.
Yes.
So and it's essentially a movie told by scene in reverse. So it starts with like the final scene, and it plays like, it's not, when you say like told in reverse, it's not like the entire movie is backwards. It's like each scene is in the descending
order. Yeah, but backwards. Like
So like everything still runs normally. So the final scene happens, and you're like, okay, why did this person murder this person? This is kind of weird. And as the movie goes back, it's kind of, I guess I should say why. The main character in this movie has a short-term memory. So he could only remember things in like hour-long sections or whatever it is. Doesn't really explain it. So to keep these clues of, he remembers it that time, and someone has murdered his wife, and he's trying to figure out who has murdered his wife.
Yeah.
That is the whole idea of this movie. So as it's told, he only remembers in hour-long sections. And he either takes Polaroid pictures of people to remember their names and writes details about them on the back of it. So when he meets them, he flicks through and goes, okay, I have met this person. Do I trust this person? Do I not trust this person? What is the information about this person? The other part of this is he tattoos clues to who his wife's killer is that he's figured out over the years on his body. So he has a literal list on his body of like, point 1, the killer is XYZ. They have this color eyes. They have this kind of stature, this kind of thing.
Right. Okay.
And as it's told in reverse, what you are led to believe about certain characters and what he is led to believe about certain characters changes. And you figure out like kind of like the characters that manipulate him. You see one scene and you're like, Jesus Christ, this is this very dramatic moment. This person is in distress.
Yeah.
And as it shows the scene before it, you see what led up to this kind of moment and whether it was correct, whether she is in distress or whether this person is manipulating the lead knowingly. And it's a sort of movie that is very hard to kind of talk about to any detail without spoiling it. And I know we're trying not to spoil it. And I think every other movie on this list, because we've seen it, we are going to spoil, but this is not one because I feel like going into it, knowing as little as possible is worth it.
Yeah, this is one which really benefits from not knowing anything about it. I mean, I watched it for the first time yesterday, and so...
Yeah, so tell us what you thought about it, Sully, because I guess you are the middle of this.
Well, okay. I'll start off with Mementos. It's what we just spoke about.
Mm.
I thought
Go on.
all the way until the last 20 minutes of that film, I thought it was immaculate. I think I think we all kind of see films slightly differently as well.
Sure.
I mean, for me, the most important thing for me is story.
Same.
Beyond anything else. As a writer.
I'm completely with you. Like in any medium, like even in video games, if the gameplay is shit but the story is good, I am more than happy to kind of be part of it. And I'm the same with movies. Like it doesn't need to look as good as possible so long as the story that's there is incredible.
We disagree on the video game thing.
I know we do.
I think there's at the end of the film takes one or two too many leaps in logic and or time that for me personally took away from the film.
Right.
Beyond that, the story the telling a story in reverse and also factoring in the fact you as the audience are seeing it as the character is as well.
Yeah. Like you know as much as the character knows at any one point.
Like there is dramatic irony, but you only get that as the film is going in reverse. Up until that point, you only know what the character knows.
Yeah.
So your thoughts on everyone switches continuously, which again was fantastic. I mean, I made my point about the story jumping a little bit too much. I mean, from the way it looks perspective, it's nothing amazing except for the black and white scenes.
Black and white scenes are cool.
The intercutting between black and white and color is really, it's like a fun, and it's a good way to keep your audience engaged. Especially, I mean, it came out in 94, I think. Or no, 2000. It came out in 2000.
I don't actually know. I'll look it up real quick.
It came out in 2000. It was Speed that came out in 94.
Right.
So especially for now, that having that black and white probably really helps a modern audience. On the other hand, Into the Spider-Verse is probably one of the most beautiful films I've ever watched.
Yeah.
And I saw it in a cinema screen where they forgot to fucking turn off some of the lights.
Whoa!
Wow!
And it still looked amazing.
Yeah, so I dragged a bunch of friends to see Into the Spider-Verse without telling. It's just saying it's the new Spider-Man movie without telling them it was animated. And we went into it and they're like, "Oh, for fuck's sake, is this animated?" I'm like, "Yes." But let's watch it anyway. So we did, and at the end of it, we all came out of it fucking loving it. And like, this is the sort of thing, like, my parents are a bit the same, where they like animated movies, but they don't go to the cinema to see animated movies, which kind of peeves me off.
Man, you see, yeah, I was going to say,
and it was the sort of thing that when I showed my parents this movie at home, they kind of looked at me and was like, shit, we should have seen this in the cinema. This is incredible. I'm like, yeah, fucking do it next time.
Yeah, bro.
And I think also from a story perspective, Spider-Verse, although it takes a classical, easy storytelling, which is you've got a character,
hero's journey kind of thing.
a young character's hero's journey. He does he fails, but then he comes back. But surrounding that, all these other little pieces of the alternate dimension Spider-Man, his relationship with his dad, his relationship with his fucking Gwen. I mean, it's one of many Gwens. That all sort of, it kind of makes this complete whole just journey of life, which again might be something I really enjoy in films as well. So yeah, I'm in two minds between, I think, the only and Spider-Verse.
The only thing I guess I'm saying, for like, again, lost Into Spider-Verse, but there are certain things that Memento did, like its form of storytelling going in reverse. It's it was done. It was one of the very first times it's ever done, and it was pulled off so well. No one's tried to do it since, because it's sort of thing that, like, it was so perfectly executed that any person that tried to do it again would just be copying it and doing a worse job of it. And I think
what about the end of Now You See Me Too.
we don't talk about that.
That film
garbage
shits on every film in this list.
It's so bad.
Now You See Me
God.
Too. It's amazing.
Yeah. For me, the story that Memento tells is an interesting one. Like it's on paper a relatively simple story of a man trying to look for the killer of his wife, but the way the story is told and the twists and turns it takes in its approach to storytelling is something that is I've not seen in another movie before, and I've not seen in another movie since. And that for me is like the only thing that I would say that would be the only thing against Into the Spider-Verse is it is a hero's origin story, and it's a really well told one, but it is a story that I feel like I've seen a bunch of times before. And that is like, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's a really good one, and the way that they're telling the hero that they're telling about is one that we haven't had before in cinema. But it is like that hero's journey we've had a lot, especially recently and leading up to it. Like every single Marvel origin story that we've had in the MCU has been a hero's origin story, for better or worse. And it feels just like another one of those. And that is the only thing for me that I'm like, I feel like Into the Spider-Verse 2, if they execute it as well as they executed this, with a fresh story that isn't like the upcoming of a new hero, could be well up there. But I feel like that is the only thing that I could put against Into the Spider-Verse is it's a story that we have had a lot recently.
Yeah, I'm torn. But I think we should get voting on this. We need to go faster.
We need to go faster.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm obviously going to go for Into the Spider-Verse. Because I haven't seen Memento, but I really want to fucking see Memento.
Yeah. I feel like if you can watch it by next week's episode, we can kind of do a little
recap.
Asterisks.
Yeah. All right. I might watch it tonight, actually, if I've got time.
That'd be cool, yeah. All right, Sully, what are you going for?
Can I also just state, these are two very different films.
These are very two different films.
Like Memento, by the sounds of it, sounds quite dark, right?
Pretty dark, yeah.
It sounds like it's got a dark, brooding texture to it.
That is the link for my movie.
That's very much your theme, Luca. You like those kinds of films.
Oh, yeah, I do.
Luca just likes being sad.
Whoa! No,
me personally, like when it comes to Porco Rosso and stuff and Spider-Verse, I quite like the look, like the style, and how that kind of plays off of things, if that makes sense.
Yeah, big time.
I think
that plays a big part for me. I think in all the films I picked, well, maybe not Speed, definitely everything else.
Yeah,
that's kind of what I base my likes on a film, being an animator and a designer kind of thing.
Of course, yeah.
Just throwing that in the pot, just saying.
I'm gonna have to go with Memento.
My whole life ended today. I think that I'm gonna fucking leave this place.
It would be a really weird twist of events if I said Into Spider-Verse, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I'm going Memento. Sorry, George.
Honestly.
It was close.
I feel like, again, if Into the Spider-Verse was against a bunch of other films here.
After this one, right? After this tournament, we're doing a music tournament.
Yeah,
and I'm going to win. I'm going to win every single one.
I don't listen to music, so I'm just kind of going to be there.
It would just be me and George shouting at each other. No, this is better. No, this is better. And Sully going.
I like when they did the singing.
Right.
Okay. Next pairing is
the next pairing is The Thing and Psycho. We also need to start going faster.
Yeah. All right. So these are two horror movies. These are two horror classics.
I mean, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So Psycho. I guess Psycho's a thriller horror, and like at the time, it was a film that stirred up so much panic with a lot of people going.
It was I think it was the first film to make it so you had to come in at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, they wouldn't let people come in later where you could before. Like,
that's true.
A little background for me real quick is at GCSE level, one of the things that we did at our school was film studies. It wasn't a good course. I do not recommend it to anyone, especially at that school, and I don't think they did it after our group. But one of the things we studied was Psycho, specifically the shower scene. And yeah, it's a perfectly executed scene, and it's a very well executed movie overall. That being said, in this pairing, my one is The Thing that I put forward, so this will be interesting.
Let's start with George, considering George is the third party.
Yeah, and you've seen both of these, right, George?
Yeah, The Thing, fucking takes it for me. easily.
Okay.
I mean,
I know that Psycho is like iconic and stuff. Like, it paved the way for a lot of like kind of horror tropes, I guess, like that you see nowadays. But for me, I think this just comes down to personal preference.
Definitely,
the Thing hits that like that mystery, that sci-fi, that like, oh, dude, the setting.
So the driving thing, the driving, overwhelming feeling that you get from the Thing is paranoia, and it plays on the idea of paranoia so perfectly. Like, I think one of the standout moments to me in this film is specifically the scene where they're testing the blood. So they've all like they're not really sure who the Thing is. So they've each got like a bunch of people tied up, and they're putting little drops of fire in the blood. They know that fire is something that this Thing reacts to. Okay. In every traditional movie that you see, you have this horror beat of 3, where you got the first one, and then you're all suspense. It's not him. You got the second one, oh, it's not him, and the third one, and then it's the monster. You feel that going, and they still use that today in lots of horror movies, and it's readable as fuck. In this scene, the Thing goes, nah, and it doesn't do that, and it goes, let's try this. 1, fuck, and then it's the Thing, and then everyone's losing their nut, including the people tied up, are absolutely terrified. And you get that sense of fear of like, no one's safe. There is no, like, the rules that you're used to in a horror movie, even though this was like a movie in the mid to late 70s, are thrown out the 82. Oh shit, I missed that one.
Wow.
Well, like,
did you just say 70s?
I thought it was late 70s.
Nah, I'm picking Psycho now.
Psycho's better now, man. 10 years earlier.
Yeah. Paved the way for the Thing, bro.
Yeah, it's like, it's a movie that it throws expectations to the wind, and upon rewatching, you can dissect certain things and get little droplets of story. Like the very end scene where you have your main character. You got Kurt Russell and you got Keith David sitting there in the snow. And if you go back and you really focus on that scene, Keith David is a Thing, and it tells you that without ever telling you that. Where, and they're like, there's ways that people have read into it, like what they're drinking isn't alcohol, it's gasoline. That's like one of the things that like Kurt Russell was testing him to make sure that he's not the Thing, and he drinks it absolutely fine. He's kind of like, shit, I know this. Another thing is, you look at Kurt Russell and his breaths, because they're outside in the cold, you can see them. Yeah. You don't see Keith David's breaths. And that's the thing for me, is like there is so much attention to detail that John Carpenter put into this movie. It's the sort of thing that like it's layered on a specific thing of like horror and paranoia, but there's so many layers to this horror and paranoia that is just so perfectly crafted. It is a movie that every time I go back to watching it, I notice little details, and I've seen this movie well over 10 times, and I will see it 10 more times and still finding these little details. It's one of my favorite things. Yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna go vote for the Thing as well.
Really?
Yeah. I hate with all my heart horror films. Just beyond anything.
Okay.
Psycho, again, fantastic film. It did pave the way for a lot of things. Hitchcock is a master of suspense.
Really is. Yeah.
That scene where the police officer is following her. Well, it seems as if the police officer is following her.
Yeah.
As she's driving. That's immaculate. But it is still a movie of its time. It's very slow paced. The acting isn't amazing.
Fair enough.
Yeah. The one gripe I have with the Thing,
please,
is the whole time I've been told and built the suspense that you never know what the monster is. Everyone's like, you never see the monster,
and they say it at the very beginning,
and straight away I see the fucking monster. I'm like, I could tell it was the dog. I knew it was the dog. At the beginning, I didn't need to see this gross out shit.
Right. I think it's, I guess you've been lied to a bit. It's that you've always seen the monster, but a lot of like the hidden thing behind it is you're not entirely sure what the monster is.
I think,
and it's an alien. Like if you figure it and you read into it and stuff.
Yeah,
it's an alien, and what they find earlier on is it's kind of crashed ship.
Yeah,
yeah.
I think, and my gripe isn't even with the film itself. My gripe is with how people have described the film to me.
Yeah.
If people have said to me, you don't know what the monster is, compared to you never see the monster, I would have been completely like 100%.
Yeah, I think that's a bit misleading.
People are saying
you see it. You see like what it does to you know, the dogs and the people in the actual
dude.
Yeah.
In the Antarctic kind of thing.
So like when I was sorry, go on. I got a story.
Oh no, carry on.
So when the first time I ever saw the thing, I was 6 years old.
Mate, what are you doing, mate?
Didn't you watch that on accident? Wasn't it on telly?
Yeah.
And said you walked in.
So we were down in Bournemouth. My parents were seeing their friends. I was sitting there watching the TV because the friends' kids were like 1 or 2 at the time, so they were in bed. I was sitting there watching the TV. My parents with their friends didn't realize how late it was. I'm watching this movie, and it's like starts with this kind of dog running on a field of snow, and people chasing it down. I was kind of like, oh, this is kind of cool. And I'm sitting here watching, and then it hits the moment with the dogs in the cage, and my little 6-year-old brain loses it. I scream so fucking loud. My parents and their friends turn around and immediately recognize the film because they've seen it before and go, fucking hell, how is he watching the thing? My mum comes over, just hugs me, they turn it off. No, it's just a film. It's completely fake. And start like just hugging me, and they're like, no, it's okay. We haven't scarred our kid. Please say we haven't scarred our kid.
And that's why Luke's broken inside.
Yeah, and that's why every single film I put to this is a dark fucking movie because I'm broken inside.
Okay.
But I love the film.
Wow.
The Thing wins 3-0.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Up next. Oh no.
Oh, this is Oh, Sully, don't give it away already.
Up next is Pan's Labyrinth versus Speed.
Yes, Pan's Labyrinth is, if not my.
How much time have we got left?
Enough time.
We got about 15, 20 minutes.
I feel we have enough time to do all of them that we've got.
We can go long. After this there's only 2 more. Of the first round. Can I start?
Yes.
Yeah, go.
Please.
Because I mean, as I mentioned, I watched 5 films of the past 2 days.
Yeah, you did.
Okay, so Speed and Pan's Labyrinth. I'll start off with Speed because I watched that first. At the very beginning, I was like, this movie's going to be a bit trash.
Oh,
just because I didn't like Keanu Reeves' character.
Fair enough.
Okay.
To begin with, and I felt like Keanu wasn't acting too great.
No, I mean it's Keanu in the.
It's Keanu being Keanu. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But I think it does. It's really good with tension and building, and it's an action movie, but it's an action movie that isn't relying on. I mean, action movies of the time and preceding this, the 80s. They were just okay. Let's have an explosion now, gunfight now, explosion, go.
Yep.
This is an action movie that has tension to it. It doesn't need to rely on the spectacular moments. I mean, the end, it gets a bit like that.
Yeah,
but I think when I was watching it, I was okay with that by the end because it felt like that level of tension was building to this crescendo, which was this kind of explosive ending.
Yeah, exactly. I think. Oh, shit, I had another point. Especially for an action movie, it didn't follow too many actiony tropes. But it was still great. Yeah. My one gripe with it is Keanu's character does the same thing to solve the ending as he does to solve one of the problems in the middle of the movie.
Go on.
Which is, in my best impression, gotta go fast. So to go over the bump, to go over the freeway, he's like, of an incomplete freeway, he's like, okay, let's go faster. And then with the train with an incomplete track, he's like, okay, let's go faster.
Right.
That is the one thing I'm like, really? Like I loved the thing where it was like, because I was watching it and I was like an hour and a half in, it's a 2-hour movie, and I'm like, but they've already resolved it. Like, why is there half an hour of just Keanu and probably Sandra Bullock banging, right?
Yeah.
If only.
But then they've got that twist with I don't remember the actor's name.
Is it Dennis something? Dennis?
Is it Dennis Quaid?
I will have a look.
No,
I doubt it's Dennis Quaid.
Speed test.
But with that twist, was like, okay, he was already one step ahead of them.
Dennis Hopper, I think.
There you go, Dennis Hopper. He was a step ahead of them, and then it allows them to have this new tension of he's got Sandra Bullock, he's got her in the bomb vest. I mean, again, it is an action movie, so in the end, the action hero is going to win. But I'll give it to the movie for up until the very end. I was like, oh, Sandra Bullock's going to have to die in this film. So they had me with that tension. Quickly, Pan's Labyrinth.
Okay.
This movie is just, it's immaculate.
Yeah! Fuck yeah, it is. Sorry, this is one of my favorite movies ever made, and anyone I've ever met. This is like, when we're talking about movies, this is the first thing I ask. Like, have you seen Pan's Labyrinth? Because fucking go see it.
I'd seen parts of Pan's Labyrinth in film school, but I never just sat and watched the whole movie.
Mate.
I spoke about this very briefly on my TikTok.
Yeah.
There's something about this film, and I think Spanish films in general, that that aren't captured in Hollywood. There is that, it's a tension and just a feeling you get whilst watching it, which you can't. I mean, it's Del Toro. It's a fantastic director, and there's something he's got there where you just can't. I mean, frankly, on this list, I think Pan's Labyrinth is better than The Godfather.
So do I, personally.
At the moment.
Yeah.
Like, I think.
Straight.
So.
It is. I think when you asked put 4 movies down, I was like, all right, Pan's Labyrinth. What other films do I pick? Because it was like, for me, it is that perfect a film.
Yeah. Just story, acting. I mean, it was scary, but it wasn't like I hate gross things, but it was like, I had this tension, and I was like, literally, I'm glad I was the only person at home, because I was shouting at my screen.
Yes.
Like, Ophelia, what are you doing?
So I have to just talk about the scene. The scene with, I'm about to hold up my boy, this motherfucker in it.
Oh shit, now I know what that is.
Yeah. So for those of you that obviously can't see, I'm holding up a Funko Pop of the Pale Man from Pan's Labyrinth. It's one of the only Funko Pop. I got this, and I have the Buffy the Vampire Slayer that Sully bought me, and I love them. They sit here with me editing. They bang all the time.
That's gross.
Yeah. So that scene with the Pale Man, there is not a single line of dialogue in the entire 4.5 minute section. I know this because it was one of the first scenes I ever, after leaving university, took and redid the sound design for, because I love it so much. I don't know if I ever did it as good as the original one, but I was fresh out of uni and I did my best. So no, definitely not.
I mean, your Slither one has 1 million views.
That it does, actually, which is fucking...
What?
Yeah, so...
what is this?
So the bathroom scene, tangent, I guess, bathroom scene in the movie Slither, the James Gunn film, where...
I fucking love that film.
Yeah, so the scene where she's in the bathroom listening to music, and the worm kind of is in the bathtub. So I redid the sound design for that scene, and on my YouTube channel, it's got like well over 1 million views. Like, it just one day...
What is this, man?
I don't know. Like, I was at work one day, and my phone just did not stop buzzing. I was like, what the fuck is going on? And like, I clicked on the link, and it was just people watching it and commenting constantly.
And he was like, Sully, this is your job.
Sully, what do I do with this?
What's happening?
Is this currently blowing up? Do we do anything with this?
And then I was like, we put all the SlapDuck stuff on the end screen. And then I was like, okay, no, this is killing our watch time. Let's not do this anymore.
But no, it did really well, which I was fucking shocked about, but it was awesome.
Wow.
Going back to Pan's Labyrinth. So that scene, 4 and a bit minutes of no dialogue, but the tension and the storytelling it does in that one scene using the set is incredible. So like, she obviously goes down into it and into like this, I guess, cave cellar underneath the room. It's kind of like, she kind of draws like a portal, but it's like a door. It's a whole thing. You have to watch the movie. But she goes in and there's this massive table of food, and she's been told, do not touch this table of food. And she's kind of like, fair enough. And at the end of it, there's just this weird being sitting there, just what looks like a corpse, just dead, stiff as anything. And as it kind of pans around the camera, you see this art at the top, and it's pictures of him and these babies. And from this art, if you actually look at it and figure it out, this is an eater of children, this thing sitting here. And it never explicitly tells you any of this, but you just...
Talking about Jeffrey Epstein?
Fucking hell, Sonny. God damn it.
Damn.
Anyway, so it's this kind of devourer of children. It's an utter disgusting being. So she goes in, she unlocks this kind of thing, she gets this sword or this dagger, and it's all good. And these fairies that are guarding her, they're on the way out, and then she sees this food, and she is absolutely starving. Her mum and like it's just during the Spanish Civil War, they don't have a lot of food, so she just takes a little grape, munches it away. Nothing happens, or at least that she sees. It's all good. She continues munching, and this monster just bursts away. His hands move. He grabs the eyes on the plate in front of him and puts them in his hand and just chases her down. And it is this sense of dread as he's kind of slowly coming back to life that she just doesn't notice. And he's standing up, and it's a sort of way of kind of causing tension for your audience that isn't explicit. It's not the sort of thing like you should be scared because the character's scared. It is, I think it's
you're scared.
You're scared. Be scared.
Yeah.
This character has no idea what's about to happen to her, and you are terrified. I imagine this is the scene where you was like shouting at the screen suddenly, "Fairy, you dumb bitch, run!"
Yeah.
And then like monster comes in, the fairies try to like save her. He devours those things by tearing the head off one of them, chases her down. And I think it's the character design or the monster design in this that is just so disgusting, as it's so close to human that it's relatable, but not human enough that you're like, this is just a person. And it's a lot of that throughout the movie. And the parallels that her story has to what's going on in the Spanish Civil War running at the same time, and her stepfather, who isn't an actual monster, but in all sense of the word is a monster, is a horrible person in general in this kind of war.
Yeah.
It has so many layers of storytelling to the movie. It's a dark fantasy and historical piece merged into one. And I could sit here for the entire hour talking about this movie because I love it so much. And I won't.
Hey, Luca, did you watch the English dub?
Fuck no.
Oh, so all right. Yeah, what the fuck, Luca?
Yeah, with animated movies, I don't mind. With an actual live action movie,
hell
no.
You elitist bastard.
Luca, what are your thoughts very quickly on Speed?
I love Speed. I think Speed is a fantastic film. It's a fantastic action movie, and like you said, it's an action movie that doesn't use action movie tropes, and I think it should be fully commended for that. It's a movie that I think everyone should watch because it is an absolutely fantastic film. But when it comes to this, I'm sorry.
Can I make a quick suggestion for the future?
Yeah, massively.
I think that this tournament is it's not bad. It's not wrong either, right? I'm just saying
don't put George's.
No. Let me just finish. I think it's a bit wrong to put, like, for example, Porco Rosso and The Godfather.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think it's a bit wrong to put them together.
Yeah.
I think maybe we should have put Porco Rosso in a different animated film.
Yeah.
And then, let's say, Speed, and another one of my picks is The Matrix. But Speed and The Matrix, they're both action films.
Sure.
Yeah.
You know, two like artish kind of, because like comparing Speed to Pan's Labyrinth is like comparing like white bread to a fucking Swiss roll. Do you know what I mean?
Okay. The only thing I will say is we're not the fucking Oscars because we don't care.
I am.
Because we don't care about what genre a movie is. We're just saying these are the movies that we believe are the best movies ever. And I think maybe next time, if we ever do this again, we'll go a bit more genre specific, so it's a bit easier.
Now I feel bad because these 4 picks aren't like my favorite ever films in the world.
Yeah. That was the thing I said. It can't be. It doesn't. It shouldn't be your favorite film. It should be the films you think are the best.
Like for me, if they were my favorite films, there'd be a few that I would change. Like I would have flat out put there's a movie called Kiss Kiss Bang Bang that I think is one of the best comedy noir movies ever made. No one's fucking seen it, but I absolutely.
I don't think any of my 4 movies would be on this list.
I would have put Sunshine on here, which I know isn't the best movie ever made, but is one of my favorite movies ever made.
Okay, all right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, just checking. So, but I think it's quite clear that we're all going to say Pan's Labyrinth, aren't we?
I'm sorry, but yeah.
Do you agree with Pan's Labyrinth?
I mean, it's fucking awesome, isn't it? It's a great film. But one thing I will say is that one scene in Speed, which shits on every scene ever made.
Go on.
Is when you've got the woman walking with her pram.
Oh yeah, that was amazing.
The woman's walking with her pram, and this bus is traveling at 55 miles an hour or whatever.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh my God, there's a fucking baby in that pram.
Yeah, I'm like, they killed a baby in a movie? What?
I was like, what the fuck? There's a baby in there. And then, I mean, to eliminate all tension from this, the bus crashes straight into the pram and loads of cans fly out because it's a homeless lady and stuff.
But
my God. When I watched that, I was like, no. Oh my god,
No,
I was hooked, absolutely hooked.
It's fantastic because
Also-
it makes you feel like, oh my god, is this movie really going to go to that point where, like, in that split decision, you're making that decision of, all right, this whole bus full of people or a baby, what do you do?
Yeah,
And
it's amazing.
It forces you to make that decision, and then they make that decision, and their decision is a bus full of people.
Yeah.
And then thankfully it's fine at the end. But at that point in time, you have this moral quandary of, in that split second moment, what decision would you as a person make?
Yeah, that's so good.
No, it's
but Pan's Labyrinth though. Oh yeah, let's have that as the winner. Fuck yeah, all right. Christ.
Also, additionally, Sandra Bullock is really good in that film.
She's fantastic.
She's amazing in that film.
It's like probably the best I've seen Sandra Bullock. Actually, no, Blindside.
Yeah, no, but she's a very good actress and she's fantastic in it.
Okay, I'm gonna slightly change the order. I'm gonna do instead of doing the one that's on top, I'm gonna do Matrix and Terminator next.
Okay. Matrix and Terminator. See, this is a hard pick for me personally. I didn't choose any of these ones.
Everybody's fucking picked my films. We're just trying to eradicate me from the.
Listen,
No.
George. Wait.
I think you might be saving this one because I like both of these movies a hell of a lot, but I think The Matrix is better than Terminator 1. And I'll say why.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
And I will say why. I think Terminator 2 is a better Terminator film on every level.
It is.
Yeah.
But I think Terminator 2, you need to watch Terminator 1.
Yeah.
I think for the most part, yeah, especially some of the opening tension you wouldn't have if you didn't watch the first movie because you wouldn't know why these characters should be scared of what's happening.
And that was my justification for Terminator 1 over 2.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, I'm thinking like that. These are both fantastic movies. The Terminator they're both very original science fiction movies told in very different ways. I think The Terminator stands with you, and it is, for the most part, a movie about these people trying to survive this unstoppable force. And that is the whole movie. There's not a lot of story to it other than this thing is going to kill this boy for a specific reason, and they've just got to survive and try to outlast it. And this thing cannot be stopped any way, which way here in there. Great.
Yeah.
It's a really good idea. And then obviously it's won a lot of people over because the movies that have spawned it off, there's been some amazing ones. There's been some shitters. But
Terminator 3, best movie ever made.
I'm about to disown you.
Okay.
I'm about to disown you. So, yeah, the Terminator, it's the sort of movie that you take someone like Arnold Schwarzenegger, which I'm going to put out there. He's not a great actor. He's not.
Sorry, what?
Yeah.
Get to the chopper.
What did you just say?
He is not.
Do you want to say that again? But
okay.
Have you not watched Twins?
Sorry, one sec. Arnold Schwarzenegger is not a great actor.
I can't believe I'm in the same room as you.
We're not. We're in different fucking cities, George.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's the sort of movie that like you take someone like him, and he's not a great actor, but this is the role he was basically born to play, if any. He is perfect as this kind of thing because it calls to someone who is imposing, who is wooden because he's a robot, who, like, all of the downsides of him in a normal movie when it comes to acting are pluses for this role, pluses for this movie, pluses for this character. And I think it's absolutely perfect casting with this. I don't think anyone else could have played him as good as this. But you take something like The Matrix, which makes you think so much about so many different things. Like at the time, it was very 90s. It's still very 90s in its music, in its set design, in its costume design, in all of those aspects. But you watch that movie today, and every single aspect of it holds up, and it holds up perfectly. And I can't say that about the Terminator.
So sick.
Yeah.
Like the Terminator, it was fantastic for the time, but the scene where he's kind of repairing himself, it's very obvious when it's spitting from him to this kind of shitty model. And yes,
it's very like 80s prosthetic kind of action renaissance.
And for the time, it was fantastic, but to this day, it doesn't really hold up. Like Terminator 2, it holds up perfectly today. And I think if it was Terminator 2 in this scenario, it would be a much harder decision for me personally. But out of these two, I have to go for The Matrix. If it was the Terminator 1 versus Matrix 2, very different story.
Yes,
Oh, but mate, what about the guys with the dreads, bro?
Yeah, the twins.
Yeah,
that
twins.
Can, like,
those specifically can fuck
twins.
off.
Those twins.
Those.
What about the guy that like arouses his wife by like talking?
Yeah.
Oh,
That
God.
amazing scene.
But yeah,
like The Matrix 1, like it made me, like it's so fucking quotable, and it made me want to like do actual like jujitsu and like karate.
Yeah.
and
cool.
stuff.
Everyone that watched it when it came out,
I mean,
me as a little
like,
kid,
easily the best quote in the whole film, which I still utter today, and it's like a joke between me and my brother,
I know Kung Fu.
is he's beginning to believe. That's my favorite thing.
It's so good.
He's beginning to believe. It's
Yeah.
so good, man.
I'll be honest. Terminator was my pick. Terminator was the weakest film, I think, on my list. And Matrix wins hands down in this.
Like, I guess for a lack of time, we can just say The Matrix wins.
The Matrix wins.
And I feel like we can discuss...
For lack of time?
Yeah.
For lack of time.
Mate, in the next bracket, we can really discuss The Matrix. But at the moment, The Matrix hands down wins this.
Okay, and the final matchup of this round is Akira and Seven.
Oh, this is hard, man. So obviously, Seven's mine. Akira is...
Okay. See,
Sully's.
What's difficult about this is that, obviously being an animator, I fucking love Akira to shreds. I think it's one of the greatest animated films I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
But Seven, just so I'm clear, Seven is Morgan Freeman,
Brad Pitt,
right?
Brad Pitt.
Yeah. What's in the box?
That film is fucking ace. That film is amazing.
So,
just the whole like halfway. Is it like halfway through the film or towards the end? They're like, oh, and by the way, Kevin Spacey's in the film.
Yeah,
and like, it's the last half.
Literally the last half hour.
I was like, what?
Like,
and the whole them not saying that he was in the film to begin with.
Yeah,
it's like, whoa, this is cool.
Also, of course, Kevin Spacey plays a deranged murderer because he is in real life.
So yeah, this is sort of a movie.
Hollywood are gonna hate us.
Oh, he really hates us. This was my choice, and don't get me wrong, I love Akira. I remember watching Akira. I want to say I was 14 or 15 or 16. I had a friend who was like a year or two older than me in school, and me and a couple of mates went around his, and he kept going on and on about Akira to us. So we went around his. We had some not alcoholic drinks because we were young.
7-Up,
liar, mate.
But we went at his for like the afternoon, had some drinks, sat down, watched this movie, and we're all just kind of like gobsmacked. This was, I want to say it was like the HD remake, but it wasn't like the Blu-ray redoing. It was like the one in between.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was that movie that before then I'd only really watched anime TV shows, and it was kind of like cool. They were just like Saturday morning cartoons for me. They were never. I know I'm saying this right now. Sorry, Sally. But yeah, they were just like Saturday morning cartoons to me. It was never like, oh, anime movies are anime movies. These things are incredible.
No, yeah.
And then I watched this movie and it was like, holy fucking shit. This was incredible. This kind of opened my eyes to the idea of like, no, like, anime is more than just like Yu-Gi-Oh! And TV and Dragon Ball Z and stuff. This is like a full perfect way of telling a story and a very interesting and adult story. So I think, and Akira, it opened my eyes to that. Like Akira, and then going away, and then like a few months later watching the original Ghost in the Shell. Those two movies, kind of, all right. I was in on anime, like nowhere near as much as you guys were, but I am very open to a lot of anime because of that movie and Ghost in the Shell.
I love Scarlett Johansson.
I knew you were going to say that. I could just see it in your eyes.
But Seven. Seven's whole detective mystery character building is just
for me the details in Seven. It's a sort of movie that it's not just about the way it tells its story. It's about like the set design. It's about the way those characters develop. Like you start out and these two characters, like one character hates the other one just wants to be done with everything. And it's the way that they kind of, their relationship is brought together because of the sick, twisted shit that is going on. It's a movie that I find very hard to find faults in, and there are probably faults out there in it. But I'm maybe biased in this one, but it is one of my favorite films because of that. It has that noir edge to it. The cinematography in it is stunning. It's a movie that, like, you listen to David Fincher talking about it, and it's like, I think this was one of the last films he did on actual film, and he talked about like the issues he had with this film, developing it, and like getting along with the cinematographer because he wanted to see things then and there where you couldn't on the way that he was filming.
Yeah.
None of those problems ever show up in that film. Like, it may have had some trouble. He may have not been happy with kind of the way he was working, but that film, the accumulation of everything that's gone into it is perfect. And it's one of those movies that if you ever question, is Brad Pitt a good actor? Watch that film.
Oh fuck yeah, he's amazing.
Like, don't get
especially the very end where he kind of
breaks down.
Like he's breaking down, but he's not breaking down in the sense where a bad actor would just be weeping and on the floor throwing a tantrum. He's like, I am a cop, I need to do this thing, but also, what the fuck?
Yeah.
It's this thing in his mind.
You see that kind of duality inside of him, like the moral, like his moral side trying to like fight against this heavy emotion that he's suddenly kind of experiencing. Oh boy. Is that
Kevin Spacey just plays himself.
Yeah. Kevin Spacey plays a fantastic villain, so he's playing Kevin Spacey. So yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
this is a very hard one to decide for me. There's two movies that one that kind of changed the way I look at a whole genre of movies, and another movie that since watching it for the first time has stuck with me and I watch probably once a year.
See, it's like I can't write off the experience that I had when I watched Akira.
Yeah.
I think I'm likewise. I think I really enjoyed Seven. It was great. It was a great detective film. But for me, and again, these are both, I mean, Seven I watched yesterday, Akira I watched for the first time about 2 months ago.
Yeah. It's weird because you as an anime lover hadn't actually watched Akira.
Yeah. I think just for me, Akira left me essentially speechless. I was just Akira left me how Pan's Labyrinth left me, which was there was no words for me to describe the experience I just went through.
Okay.
Seven was a fantastic movie as well, but it just didn't have, for me, it didn't have that. I mean, obviously you've justified for you as to why it has that impact on you. So, I mean, for me, my vote is Akira.
I feel like I'm going to have to vote for Seven, not because it's the one that I chose. It's just the one that it just edges it out. Like, again, the experience I had watching Akira changed the way I saw anime. And I will never, like, honestly, for me, if this was like a top 5 or 6 list, Akira would have been on my list.
Yeah, I honestly, I thought Akira was going to be one where one of us would have to change because it would pop up at least twice.
Yeah, same.
Potentially even on all of our lists.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I'm probably gonna go with Akira as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'm a big
yes,
Akira
one of Lucas' movies got
I know.
out.
Yeah,
No.
3 out of 4. I'll take that.
Oh yeah, all right. What about 1 out of 4?
Oh no. Okay, so that is all of it. That is this.
Yeah, that's first round.
The first round. That is this week's. Next week we will kind of do the second part and kind of find our top 3.
Yeah.
Sully, do you want to give us the rundown on which ones won?
Okay. Oh fuck. Okay, so the movies going through to the second round are as follows: The Godfather, Memento, The Thing, Pan's Labyrinth, The Matrix, and Akira. That's a fucking...
That is a banging list of films.
If you've not watched any of those films, firstly,
How?
Like how? Even if you don't watch movies, that's just something you probably watched. And 2, sorry we spoiled them for you. And 3, even if we have, just go and watch them because they are excellently crafted in every single way. I mean,
every movie on this list was that. So
especially Speed.
Especially Speed.
Yeah. Cool.
And Reign of Fire.
Fuck you. I'm surprised one of you didn't pull that shit out your
movie
ass.
of the year.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay, so for everyone listening that is still around, we're going to, on our social medias, put up, I guess, these brackets. So feel free to jump on there and vote. We want to see if you guys think the exact same as us or whether you'd have gone a different way. And if you haven't watched any of the movies that are coming up for next week, you've got a week to watch them. And again, give us your comments on them. See what you think should be the winner. Or if we've missed a movie out that you think, fuck it, I know a movie that's better than all of these movies.
I know a movie that's better than all of these movies. Do you want to hear what it's called?
It's not Reign of Fire, though, is it?
It's The Lord of the Rings.
True. We already got our Reign of Fire in for the day.
Sure.
So.
And it's definitely not Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings.
In any of these.
You haven't seen it.
Do you guys have it? Very quickly, do you guys have any 2 honorable mentions?
Yeah. I think I've already done my honorable mentions. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. It's not a movie that I think would ever be considered the greatest movie of all time. But if you haven't seen that movie, it is the movie that reignited Robert Downey Jr.'s career. And and it's like it's him, it's Val Kilmer. If you've seen Iron Man 3, if you've seen fucking The Good Guys? Yeah. The writer and director of this is Shane Black. He created Lethal Weapon. He had a hand in Predators and Predator. He's had a hand in lots of iconic things, and I think this is one of my favorite movies he's ever done to date. It was a low budget film. It's a modern noir kind of style, but it has such a dark comedic edge to it that I probably one of my most watched movies of all time. I love it. It is my comfort movie, but it is such a well-crafted film that I think and if anyone out there's not seen it, you should watch it.
Yeah.
And then my second one would be the movie Sunshine, which is the Danny Boyle movie where a team of scientists have to kind of get on this spaceship to the sun to reignite it because it is about to die. And it's a very simple premise. And I don't think storytelling wise, it is the greatest movie of all time, but it is one that is meticulous in its design. The music is phenomenal, and it has some very interesting twists and turns that every time I watch it, I fall in love with it again and again. And it is a movie that I suggest anyone watch. Those are my honorables.
Okay. George?
I think I'm only going to base it off films that I have like infinite rewatchability for me.
Yeah.
I think I may have mentioned it before on the podcast, but Shaun of the Dead is one for me.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's just classic British humor, British actors, Edgar Wright, Simon Pegg, Nick Frost, like all these awesome people. Like everything about it, how it's all just woven together, and then so fucking good. I love Shaun of the Dead so much. And I guess my second one, I don't know. I haven't. None of us mentioned a Tarantino film.
None of us have.
Oh, yeah.
So I've been thinking about it a lot recently, and I really want to watch Django again.
Okay.
I like Django Unchained a lot. That and The Hateful Eight. The Hateful Eight maybe more so. It's just a bit long.
No, and I really enjoyed The Hateful Eight. I watched it. Me and my dad went to see it when they was doing their road show of it. So like they went.
Yeah.
So we watched it at the Leicester Square Odeon, and it was like
Wow.
It was like it opens with an overture playing. It had like an intermission in the middle. It was like an extended version of it. You get this kind of like roadshow booklet for going. It was for me. It was like it was a great movie, and I enjoyed the movie a lot. But it was also the experience of going that I'll never forget. Me and my dad had a fantastic day together.
That's amazing. Like when I first saw it in the cinema, it was like I wasn't expecting there to be an interval in the film. I was like, holy shit! Now I can just get a drink or something. That's sick. That's so sick.
And I love how it used that interval to kind of twist the story itself. I don't want to spoil it because it is a long movie, and I know a lot of people haven't really watched it. It's definitely worth the watch because the way it uses said interval to kind of change your preconceptions of the actual story and the events that are happening is fantastic.
Yeah, it's good.
I'm gonna go with Amores Perez, which I think is one I've spoken about before. It's a Mexican crime drama film where it's 3 different stories within the film, and they're all interwoven.
Okay.
Like it starts off about a guy in dogfighting, and then there's a woman who's being abused, and then there's a homeless guy's story, and like they all interconnect to one another, and by the third part you kind of see how that works.
Yeah.
And the other one is The Skin I Live In. No.
Ooh.
Yeah, The Skin I Live In.
Antonio Banderas one.
Sorry?
Is that the Antonio Banderas one?
Yes, Antonio Banderas, the Almodovar film, which is fucking insane. It's, again, another Spanish language film. I don't know how to describe it without spoiling that movie.
Yeah, it's a weird one.
It is just... Antonio Banderas is fucking insane in that film. It's all I can say.
Yeah, I think it's...
And you kind of rightfully so, but also not.
I think it's definitely worth a watch for anyone that hasn't seen it.
Yeah.
But go in trying to know as little as possible because, like always, that really helps.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that's all the time we have this week.
Almost definitely.
We may or may not have overrun. Apologies
if we
to
have.
people on Radio Haver who are still listening to us when they want to tune in to the next show. But who kicked us
I
off?
did. So thank you for listening, everyone. Please tune in next week for the second part of this massive tournament.
The SlapDuck Best Film Tournament.
Best Film Tournament. Follow us on social media because we will be adding these to our stories to allow you guys to vote and for us to kind of poll it in and just see whether our thoughts match up with yours or if we're completely off base and it should be a completely different movie. So please, where can they find us on that? Sully, on Instagram,
They can find us on Instagram at SlapDuckPodcast. Same with Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok.
Okay.
You can also email us at slapduckpodcast@gmail.com or just go to slapduck.com and send us a message on our contact form.
Nice and easy.
Hey,
so,
Skura.
That's us for this week.
Tingo Skur.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right.
Is that the end then?
That is us done.
Yeah. And that's the end.
All right, where are we gonna go? What are we doing?
We're all gonna go get some Yankees with no brim.
Yankee with no brim.
You're gonna have to,
What a great
brim,
meme.
no Yankee.
You're gonna have to explain it to me after we're done. Okay, so what is that no Yankee, no brim thing?
Okay, so I mean, the way I found it was Yankee obviously is
America.
the Yankees are a baseball team, but also they're kind of a hat company.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think they sell hats that like don't have a brim on them, so they're like just like a hat. It's
like a
cap.
beanie, I guess, but
Yeah,
without
it's like a beanie.
without the beak
Yeah.
at the top.
That's weird. All right.
Yeah, it's like a beanie but shaped like a cap.
Weird.
So people decided instead of spending money and buying a brimless Yankee, you just cut off the brim of your Yankee.
That's really good.
So the meme is it's like Yankee with no brim. Then someone just puts on the brim, and then it's no Yankee brim, and then it's nothing, and it's no Yankee, no brim.
That's really good. I like that.
Fucking amazing.
It's so stupid. I love it.